Cashflow Diary Podcast, episode 120.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Cashflow Diary Podcast, the podcast that teaches you insider tips, tactics, and strategies for creating leverage streams of cash flow into your life. Learn from top-performing entrepreneurs, business owners, investors, and thought leaders from across the globe as they share their secrets to success. Like what you learn on this and other Cashflow Diary podcast episodes? Go to learninvestingnow.com and sign up to receive powerful tips and information that will help you succeed as an entrepreneur and investor. Now, here's your host, investor, entrepreneur, business owner, educator, speaker, author, and master facilitator of Robert Kiyosaki's Cashflow game, Jay Massey.
Okay. How you guys doing out there? And you know what? This time it's just you and me. No one else. So it's been a while since we've done it that way. It's been a long time. In fact, I can't even remember the last time. Maybe someone out there has some statistics. You know what episode was the last time we did that. But guess what? Now it's just you and me. And there's a couple of things that I want to make sure that I bring to your attention before we get into it. Because I was inspired by a quote, and that's what we're going to be talking about today, is this particular quote from Melody Beattie. I think is how you say her name. Beattie. Melody Beattie. She's an author, and it's simple. It says, gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. And as many of you know, in the U.S., we'll be coming up on that week of Thanksgiving. Therefore, it's on my mind. And this is a gratitude quote that I saw, and I was like, yeah. And there was a lot that was just flowing from my mind that I felt was important to share with you. Now, this is your first time listening. I don't know how much you're going to, quote unquote, learn from a technique standpoint or all this other stuff on this particular episode. So please don't make all of your judgments on this one. I think this one is for those of you who have been listening for a long time and need something a little bit different. Maybe you want to know a little bit more that would help you keep pushing forward. And hopefully that'll be the case. Now, I have one announcement. Very important. This Friday, Black Friday, is when it's actually like the anniversary of the first time my wife and I played the Cashflow game. And guess what? We're going to be doing that again. We're going to be playing the Cashflow game. Now, I have two things to say. Well, we're actually kind of like three. We're going to be playing live in the Orange County area. You're going to want to go over to cashflowdiary.com/events. So just go to the website, click the events tab, and you will be able to see when and where, be able to pay your registration fee if you wish to attend there in person. Now, for some of you, you're like, man, Jay, I'm on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. How am I going to get there? You know what? Guess what? We got you covered. We're actually going to be streaming the event live as well. We're going to be streaming the event live as well. Again, you can go to the same place on our website to make sure that you register to know and be notified of how to participate. Because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be hosting a Cashflow game. And most importantly, I'm going to walk everybody through it online and in the room simultaneously, helping everyone learn how to play. So this is your time. Grab some friends, get them over to your house. And what we're going to do is we're going to walk you through this Cashflow game. And you'll be able to type into the chat room, ask me questions on how to play, strategy, all this other stuff that will help you move the game forward. And we're looking forward to, creating some change in your life using the very tool that you could say started it all in a very, very serious way. And that'll be this Friday. It's going to begin at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Pacific time. That's U.S. Pacific time, to be very, very clear. And go to the website, cashflowdiary.com. You'll be able to see the details under the events tab. Make sure you register. For those of you attending in person, bring a friend, bring two, because it will help you and them both take more action and move forward. Now, with all of that being said, I want to tell everybody you're really, really, really going to want to make sure that you listen to Thursday's episode as well. because we got something special that we have never done before that will be announced on Thursday's episode that you will want to be a part of, or at least I assume you want to be a part of. And that's assuming that you want your cash flow to grow. That's assuming you want your knowledge to grow. That's assuming that you want to develop more investors, more deals, and make things happen. You're going to want to make sure that you listen to Thursday's episode. Okay? I think that's enough about that. So, the quote, as I said, gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. And I was just sitting here thinking, it's just a perfect 3 parts, you know. All I want to do on this particular episode is just, first of all, thank each and every one of you for listening, because you guys, you're part of the brings peace for today, peace for me in this. And I just want to share with you why we continue to do what we do here at the Cashflow Diary. And most importantly, if maybe some of you didn't make it all the way back to episode 1, or you can't find episode 1, or your episode 1 was so horrible you couldn't listen to it all. I think it's just that time of year where being grateful and gratitude is on my mind. And I figured it was important to share with you, because one of the things that has recently happened is that I just completed another series of calls, with a number of you. You filled out the application. We talk about, what's going on in your life and how we might be able to help you, build your cash flow and make things happen. And, there's lots of things that are going on out there in the marketplace. And I can remember, it hasn't been that long ago. I mean, I haven't been doing this long enough to forget how we started. For those of you who don't know, my wife and I, we were squatting in bank-owned property. That's the first thing to understand, is that we really didn't have a legitimate place to stay. My wife could not eat or drink. She had a condition known as hyperemesis when she's pregnant. There are lots of women with this condition, and unfortunately, it does not get enough attention and is often misdiagnosed. And women die from things like this. And it was a very stressful time when my wife was pregnant. And one day I went to go blow off steam. I mean, many of you have, when you get frustrated, you go blow off steam. And I ended up puncturing my lung. And I could not walk and talk simultaneously. All of these things were going on at the same time. And a friend says, hey, you should become a real estate investor. By this point, I couldn't go to work as a self-employed financial planner, could I? No, that's not possible. So what am I going to do? And I go find out what he's talking about. I got a credit score of 398, and he knew it. He knew we had no money, couldn't even put $75 together. But he was like, you know what? Come anyway. And I did. And that was the beginning of a whole lot of many things, that have happened since then, and given us the ability to now help many, many people. And have you ever gone through something, in your past and not known why? And it's just not, apparent to you, but it feels frustrating, it feels discouraging. You feel like it's never going to end. And you ask yourself, or you say things like, it can't get any worse. And then it does. And you're like, man, I would have never imagined that. Those are things that today I'm grateful for, that because I didn't understand. And I'm sharing this with you in the hopes that whatever you might be feeling right now, you could develop a small sense of gratitude for the frustration, for the training, dare I say, that you are currently enduring and experiencing. Because that's what I've learned, from my frustration, is that it's trained me. It's trained me to persevere because, the first deals didn't get accepted. It's trained me to keep going in spite of the consistent obstacles that keep appearing. I was trying all kinds of manners of different real estate strategies and ways to earn money, selling our possessions on eBay. And, there comes a point at which you learn to not clock in or quote, clock out either. Because as an employee, you're trained, to work a certain way for a certain amount of time. And I put in my time, so I must be done. But you've got to learn how to produce a result. And that didn't come easy, at least not for me. It wasn't familiar. It wasn't something I understood. Developing the correct mindset required to keep persevering, even in the face of everything in my reality that said, no, you should have stopped a long time ago. Where does that come from? No one signs up for that voluntarily. You must learn to push through. I mean, I don't know if anyone who even listens has ever experienced the stress of having a loved one suffer with hyperemesis. But just imagine, if you could, that every time your phone rings, I mean, first of all, she's pregnant, right? And you're like, oh my God, what could it possibly be? But now, every time your phone rings, it could be, hey, she's gone. It's a stressful time. And sometimes we can learn to put our hope in the wrong things. And most importantly, as we're learning to build cash flow, especially as it relates to real estate or business, we can hope that this particular deal, that's the deal that's going to save us. And we could sacrifice so much for it to try to make it happen. And then it doesn't. And that could be such a letdown. How do you learn to persevere through that? More importantly, how do you know and become a person that can be grateful for those things? See, I get the privilege now of telling lots of people, even you for that matter, that one of the things that I was gifted a situation such that every investor, every business owner will eventually face, where you run out of your own resources. You can't rely upon yourself. You can't be this John Wayne Maverick attitude that I don't need anybody else. I was forced into a situation that I did not like, that was completely uncomfortable. I was forced to deal with it at the beginning. And oftentimes when we're beginning our entrepreneurial career, we want it to be smooth because it's hard enough to even see ourselves that way. And those are the very skill sets that I get to share with people and I get to help people with today. It's the very thing that keeps me going and gets me excited when I hear people do their first deals, or they raise their first $100,000, or they are able to buy their first apartment building, or whatever it is. And I wouldn't have them if I didn't go through those things, if I didn't persevere through those things, if those things didn't happen for me. And those were the very things, and I want you to hear this, that I despised during the time that they were going on. I didn't want them there. I did not think that this should be happening to me. And that may be what you are feeling right now. That could be the reason you listen, is hoping for that super silver magic bullet that we could deliver to somehow make it all go away. And unfortunately, I don't know that I have a silver bullet, but I do know this. I know that with the correct knowledge, if you learn to labor under correct knowledge, that's the definition of luck, Luck, laboring under correct knowledge, you can overcome all that. Because that past, those challenges on the other side will teach you that you can overcome. They'll teach you that others will stick by you. That's been one of the biggest and most important lessons, at least for me, that I am grateful for. I believe that others will stick by me. My team stuck by me through some of the crazy stuff that has happened. And for those of you who have, read the book, Cashflow Diary, 10 Steps to Creating Wealth in Any Economy, or you got the audiobook or ebook or whatever, about the times where, individuals stole money from the company or crazy stuff happened. Because it's in the book. And nothing. I mean, you may think you have a good team, but you don't know until they've been tested. You may think you can make it through anything, but you don't know until you've been tested. And our pasts are often the tests. And we can look back there, and I hope you can look back there at your past, and instead of using it as the reason why you can't move forward, use it as the reason why you absolutely have the character, the ability, dare I say, the desire, and should blaze that new trail ahead. See, gratitude, it makes sense of our past. She also said that it brings peace for today. Brings peace for today. I mean, what's interesting is, and I share this, guys, with you freely because what you see is what you get. And you probably figured that out by now, is when I did not, know how to do a podcast. And arguably speaking, you could be saying, Jay, you still don't know how. And that's fine. But I didn't know that people would listen or learn. I didn't know. I didn't believe. I didn't see it. I just took a chance. There was a book that Chris Gardner wrote, the man that the movie, The Pursuit of Happiness, is built upon. And there's a phrase in his book, and it simply says, start before you're ready. That's it. Start before you're ready. And because there are people who are looking at you today that are hoping that you go out there and make something happen. And I've grown to become grateful as I see that, there's people all across, the world that are beginning to listen to the words. And I love it when you guys leave reviews and you talk about what you've done, or you send in the emails that say, hey, this helped me, or whenever we get the off chance to actually speak on the phone or something, and you're like, man, I've been listening and I've listened to every episode. And I'm just like, wow, really? And it's encouraging to know that that's out there. And what I want to say to you is you are that same person for someone else today. Lives will change because of you listening today. Lives will change because of the actions you take tomorrow, because of the gratitude you develop and the peace that you emanate from it. The crazy thing is that we often doubt, is the chance that we're taking worth it? There's only one way to find out. And we look for all these odd assurances. At least I do. These are the things that I get, insecure about. Will they listen? On the reviews, will it only be a whole bunch of 1-star negative? I can't believe he publishes this stuff. I mean, guys, these are all the things that are there. But here's the thing. I've learned to become grateful for every challenge and every download. Take nothing for granted because it could be all gone tomorrow. No one is promised tomorrow, right? You probably figured that out. And that's where phrases like now o'clock come from. Do it now. Today. Be the example today. Be grateful today. Push forward today because there's someone out there who's waiting, who will, and I promise you, will use what you do or don't do as the reason why they can or can't move forward. They're listening. They will learn from you. It is worth it today. Interestingly enough, after the piece comes a vision for tomorrow. And part of what is continually being shaped and part of the reason why we continue to teach and play the Cashflow board game is because it's part of the vision for tomorrow. And many people wonder, how on earth can you build a business by playing games? Well, at the end of the day, it's more than just a game. It's more than just a game. But at the same time, it's still a game. There's so many lessons that are learned. There's so much kinship that's born by playing in person with other people that you wouldn't dare know or dare experience. And oftentimes, most of us know exactly what we need to do to take our businesses to the next level. We just haven't done it. We won't do the simple things. And sometimes it could be as simple as playing a game. What would it feel like if you felt that you were financially literate? More importantly, that you could create jobs, and definitely that you had the ability to provide clean, safe, affordable housing to people that need it when it matters most. What would that feel like for you? Maybe part of your future is learning how to teach and instruct. One of the basic things that I've grown even more grateful for over time is just knowing that my mentors taught me well, and I can see it over and over again. So I share this with you so that in your future, you might find a way to share anything that you have learned. See, there was a process that I was taught. It was first, watch me do. That's the process where many people start. That's where it's like, okay, I can play any game, Jay, but please just show me how to do it. All right, no problem. Watch me. At some point, though, there's enough of watching. There's enough of reading the books, and it's time to take action. And you get to that next step where you must, quote unquote, do with me. Where it's now time for you to begin to mix it up and make it happen. And that's often where we can begin to develop some of those stressful gratitude lessons, also known as challenges, coming our way. And later we become grateful for. Then after we do for a while, we've got to do alone because we got to take those training wheels off. What would it be like if you had to keep the training wheels on the entire time? How much fun would that be? How much growth would really, really absolutely be there? You know, I'm not really sure. And then, and probably the really most important one that becomes a lot of fun is teach another. Teach another. Is there anything that you've learned that you know so well that other people would find of value that you could share with them and possibly influence a life or two? You know, and if so, please share it. This is what I've learned is that your audience is out there. They're waiting to hear from you. Give them something of value, something that they can use, and make sure that you serve them as much as you possibly know how, as much as you possibly can. And today it's fun to share exactly what we do. Sometimes it's really funny because we get emails like this. Is that really he just like plays games? Does he really say those things? Does he really do that? And the answer is yes. That's you guys have access to exactly what's going on. That's why I try to give you those recordings where you get to hear me in the live events and that's why I'm telling you, hey, you're going to want to make sure that you're a part of the live event, either in person, coming up this Friday or online. So you could see this is really how it works. And I hope you glean from that you can do it because you can. You don't need me to tell you that, but it's true. You can. You know, when I think about gratitude, it's one of those things that keeps you going and can make sense, as she said, of our past, brings peace for the day and creates a vision for tomorrow. The challenge is how do you eventually become grateful for the things that you might despise today? I promise you, there's nothing that has happened to me in the past that makes me go, ooh, I felt lucky. And during going through them, was not fun. Never is. And the challenges of today, guess what? Not fun either. But I'm guessing with perseverance tomorrow, there'll be additional things that I'm grateful for. Imagine for a second who you could become if you chose to actually take on this challenge, if you will, to create cash flow. Because I know you're thinking about it because you listen. And I'm grateful for each and every one of you. But I wouldn't be me if I didn't ask you a very direct question. How long have you been listening? And during that time, have you written an offer? Have you actually gone out there to try to sell your concept or idea and get your business off the ground? Have you actually listened to all of the entrepreneurs, said to yourself, ooh, that's good. And I know some of you took deep notes. You paused it. You went back and forth. You're like, man, that was good. But what evidence do you have that you've begun that process of watch me do with me, do alone, and then teaching another? I want each and every one of you, I hope each and every one of you will become that person, willing to push forward so that 1 year from now, that the next time you're thinking about American Thanksgiving, you have an opportunity to go, wow, made a lot of progress in 1 year. Because that's what's hitting me. It's how much progress we've made, how many jobs we've created, how many houses we've protected, because things happen. How many more team members we have, how many more people email us and saying, hey, I got my first fourplex. I just did this. I just did that. I'm quitting my job now. All of those things are exciting. Yet they almost didn't happen because I was afraid. They almost didn't happen because I was going to let fear keep me smaller and smaller still. And hopefully you can hear today that I believe in you. I believe that you have the capabilities, that if you can find a way to make sense of your past, bring some peace to today, you can begin to create that vision for tomorrow and go out there and take some action. This has been a short episode, I'm sure, but hopefully worth it. I look forward to talking to you soon. Until next time.